So what this little video is going to show you is how you could go about recognising whether a verb is in the past tense or not. Like I said before, we have focused on key sentences, we focused on key verbs, and you're really good now at recognising those and saying whether they're in the past tense and noticing the differences between the past and the present tense. This is just going to explain how it would work with an unknown verb or a verb that isn't part of our key sentences. And we have to make sure we can do this properly, because particularly in reading exercises or in a translation exercise, you may well come across a verb that is not one of our key verbs, and you're going to have to identify whether it's in the past tense or not. This slide here, we have got our different pronouns. Now I've put them into three different colours. The ones in the green, so the yo and the nosotros, that is our core verbs. That is what everybody needs to be able to recognise. The ones in the blue, so the el and the ella and the eos and the eas, your third person, that's kind of the next level up. And then the you forms, the tú and vosotros, that's like your super stretch. Okay, so if we were kind of learning how to form the present tense from the past tense, from the very beginning, this is the kind of thing that you would see. And it's like we did in year 8 in French when we were looking at the past tense, or year 9, we kind of showed the verb table. But like I explained, we did it a little bit differently to make sure that you are recognising the verbs first. So if we were looking at your form for regular AR verbs, we would see a verb that ends in E with an accent. This is like the example that we have seen in our key sentence of S-U-J. Okay? Similarly, if we were looking at an ER or an IR verb, it would end in I with an accent, like our key sentence verb, comi. That ends in an E accent, it is yo. I accent, it for AR verbs. I accent, it is yo for IR and ER verbs. If we look at nosotros, they are ending in amos, like escuchamos, and they are ending in imos, like comimos. Now we said that for the majority of verbs in the we form, they are pretty similar or identical in most cases to how they are in the present tense. So we're going to look in a bit at how we can avoid that. If we're looking at the blue ones, so this is what the ending would be for an AR verb in the L or ea form. So if the verb ends in O with an accent, for example, escuchó, that would be past tense for talking about he or she. So él escuchó la música, he listened to music. In the same way, if we wanted to talk about he or she with an ER or an IR verb, it would be io. Now note that the accent is on the O, not on the I like it is in the yo form. So here we would say comió. Comió las pizzas. He or she ate pizzas. So if it ends in O with an accent, then it is going to be for he or she. And IO, he or she. Then if we look at they, if it ends in aron, that is relating to eos or eas. So for example, escucharon, they listened. The ER and IR verbs, ieron, comieron, they ate. Okay? If it ends in aron or ieron, so that kind of RON ending, you know there that it is related to eos or eas, and it is also in the preterite tense. None of these endings, aside from the nosotros ones, which we've spoken about, none of them are too similar to the present tense or any other tenses. So it's quite a good way to be able to identify it. And if you saw, for example, in a translation, if you had this sentence, and let's say, pasó tiempo con su familia, you would look at that and you say, okay, well, it ends in an O with an accent, and I know that that's in the past tense. That is related to he or she. Pasó, okay, I know pasó tiempo, it's about spend time. He or she spent time with their family. But we'll go through a little bit more of that later. So what we're going to have a look at now is some example verbs, and I'm going to talk you through how you can spot whether they are in the present tense or not. So a lot of these verbs you might not recognise, but that's fine. If you do recognise them, great. If you want a bit of an extra challenge, see if you can figure out what infinitives they come from. So if we look at yo, bailé, it ends in the E with the accent. You know that if something ends with an E with an accent, it is from an AR verb, and it is the yo form. So bailé, hablé, same idea. Celebré, same idea. Conocí, it ends with I accent. If it ends in an I accent, it is an ER or an IR verb that is also in the yo form. Discutí, nací, perdoné, rompí. So any of these E accent or I accent ending verbs are all in the preterite tense, all to do with the I form. If we look at el and ella, bailó, again, you know that it ends in O with an accent, it is to do with el or ella. Habló, celebró, conoció, ER or IR verb, I-O accent, discutió, nació, perdonó, rompió. Next one, ellos and ellas. Bailaron, A-R-O-N, that is your ending for ellos and ellas with an AR verb. Hablaron, celebraron, conocieron, I-E-R-O-N is your ending for ER and IR verbs with they form. Discutieron, nacieron, perdonaron, rompieron. So all these ones that end in this ron, you know that they are in the preterite tense. If we have a look at the nosotros ones, like I said before and like we spoke about, lots of these verbs have the same ending in the present tense as they do in the preterite tense. I'm going to talk through those in a little bit. So bailamos, that verb could be in the present tense or it could be in the past tense. Same with hablamos, same with celebramos. However, with a verb like conocimos actually comes from an infinitive conocer, which ends in an ER. And we know from our present tense that EMOS is our we form ending. So actually in the preterite tense, it is emos. So if you see a verb that ends in emos, you could think, okay, is that going to be in the preterite tense? Discutimos, nacimos, perdonamos, and rompimos. So sometimes we might see a verb in a sentence. For example, bailamos en la discoteca. We actually don't really know from that sentence whether that phrase is in the past tense or is in the present tense. So aside from using that verb, how else could we know what tense the phrase is in? Hopefully you have said time indicators. So by including a time indicator, it gives a really clear indication of what tense your phrase is in. So if I said, la semana pasada bailamos en la discoteca, last week we danced in the disco, la semana pasada, past tense. Whereas if I said, hoy bailamos en la discoteca, today we are dancing in the disco, we know that that's in the present tense. So that's why it's really important to know your time indicators so that you can identify what tense a phrase is in.